are you right now?
I'm good, thanks. I'm just in my room in LA, just hanging
Very
out.
nice. Talk me through the setup. It looks like you've got a really good, almost like a feature wall of your music paraphernalia.
Yeah, I kind of just tend to throw things on my walls when I don't like have places for them. So
Hmm. I
yeah,
hear that.
it's kind of off screen, but this is a Travis Scott poster of his Days Before Rodeo album, and then I have right here. This is a Mac Miller Faces poster, and then I just have just random stuff. I
Do
just
you
got
use
this
that
mirror.
guitar that's on the wall?
Oh yeah, this is my electric guitar.
Nice. So you just take it off and pop it back on.
Yeah, super easy.
Yeah, I love that. Why do you have this road mirror?
I actually just got that this morning. I ordered it. It's really cool because it's like a fisheye lens kind
Yeah.
of, so it makes things look cool. I don't know.
I feel like they use that for like dangerous corners when you're driving. They're like, this is what's coming around the corner.
Yeah, that's what it is. You can buy them on like online, super easy.
Oh shit, that's sick. Yeah, I've got a hat wall going for all the hats that I don't know where to put. So
Nice. My
I
hat
hear
wall's
you.
over there. You can't see it.
Look at us. Hey Max, congrats on your single Untitled. I want to chat about this first before we talk about anything larger coming up in your life. Um, why did you leave this single as Untitled?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I wrote the song with Grant Averill, and we were on a Zoom call, and we had kind of just finished the song, and we were trying to think of what to name it, and a lot of things came up, like my greatest fear and just like lyrics from the song, but they all didn't really feel like they captured the essence of it. And I feel like the essence of the song is kind of about how we don't really know what we want a lot of the times, and we feel kind of like indecisive about things. Like, I wish I could like ditch my whole life and go move across the country, or maybe I should stay here. I have things here, like, this like kind of indecisiveness and like fear of things, and so just leaving it untitled kind of felt like that reflected the sentiment of the song pretty well. So.
That's true, but it's also you not making a decision.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You discussed that period of attending Berklee College of Music in the song, and it's a little dark. You say you don't remember it because you weren't completely sober. Tell me about it on upon reflection.
Yeah. I mean, that line is kind of, uh, it doesn't necessarily mean like I wasn't sober as in like, I was on drugs or whatever the whole time, but I just definitely felt while I was there like I wasn't really myself in a way. Um, and so that's kind of what that line means to me. Um, but yeah, it was just kind of it was a interesting year of my life. I just felt like I was kind of going in a direction that didn't really feel like it fit me, and um, I'm glad that I was able to make the decision to leave, because it would definitely would have been easy to stay and just kind of see what happened, but I kind of felt like it was a gut reaction that I needed to follow. So
Yeah, follow your gut. And it's such an interesting thing, like working in the arts. Of there's not no like obviously no formulaic way to get to the spot that you need to. And you just working in the industry, I imagine you'd be learning so much more just like collaborating with people rather than sitting in a course doing like, here's some
yeah,
scales. And you're like, I already knew this. Ugh.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the main reason why I left, is I felt like I was um, I was just kind of like preparing for the next step, but I felt like I could be preparing while also doing the next step, kind of like just kind of learning as I went, instead of spending 4 years of my life like waiting to do something and just like doing it instead. So
Yeah, props to you. You're a doer, not a sayer. I appreciate that. Okay, so why did you decide on LA of all places? Because I've done some reading and like this is no like shame or anything, but people have been like, oh, like Max, it's interesting you've moved to LA, but you haven't done a lot of collaborating. You're like still very much like working with yourself, doing what you're doing in Portland. And I'm intrigued whether it was just like the people surrounding you in LA. Do you love the lifestyle there? Was it a place you'd been to before? Tell me about it.
I mean, it was definitely the main motivation, I would say, was just because LA is, you know, kind of known as like the music capital. And so I just wanted to be in that environment. I felt like in Boston, like the community was really, obviously there was a music community there at Berklee, but it was very small and super tight knit. And outside of the college community, it didn't feel like there was a lot going on. And so I wanted to be in a city where that was kind of a part of the culture. And so that was kind of like the main reason. But I feel like the West Coast is kind of more my vibe in general, like growing up in Oregon. It just like the East Coast is, I don't know, it didn't really suit me as well, I don't think. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. It's so interesting to me as an Australian how microcosmic the states is, like between every different state within the states. It's just so vastly different. Whereas here, I feel like Australia is pretty homogenized. Like we have very similar accents everywhere you go. And then like even just like, you know, culture-wise, it's all very cruisy. There's maybe a couple of differences between cities, but it's nothing as drastic as like East Coast versus West Coast and like, you know, Bible Belt and things like that.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a whole lot of different things going on.
Yeah. I mean, also intrigued by another line in Untitled. You speak to death a little bit towards the end. What is your relationship with death like? I feel like because I'm someone who I rather not think about it. Do you find that talking about it helps you work through that concept?
That's a really good question. I think when I was a lot younger, I used to be really, really scared of death. And I remember like walking through a cemetery with my grandma or something, and she was like, you know, this is like where, you know, people go and they die. And it was like terrifying. I was like, why are we here? Like, can we leave? But I don't know, as I've gotten older, I just kind of like have accepted that, and it doesn't really scare me, I don't think, but I do think that it's something that's like that motivates a lot of people in a weird way, like the fear of dying. And that was kind of like where the line in the song came from, was like what if I don't accomplish anything before I die, or, you know, like that's always kind of like, I don't know, something that's like in the back of my mind somehow. And yeah, the idea of death not being closure was kind of just like
Ugh.
a huge existential, like that was like,
dude, that hits me in the chest.
Yeah, I was just like, holy shit, this kind of has just taken on a greater meaning than what it started out as.
Oh, huge. You also talk about not feeling it all. Do you feel like you feel emotions intensely?
I definitely do. I just recently, especially this past year, like I feel like we've been kind of left with, I mean, Australia is different because you guys kind of have your shit together, but at least in the States, we've been like sitting here for a year, a little over a year now, and just kind of thinking about things. And I feel like I've just kind of like run through all of the like intense emotions, and there's nothing really left to feel. Like I've already felt all those things, and there's nothing really new going on in my life. Like there's a lot of like stagnant, I feel like there's a lot of stagnancy, I don't know if that's a word, but just like sitting and not really like being introduced to new things. And I feel like that kind of scares me because I don't feel a lot of things happening.
And I feel like you're someone who's comfortable with change. So that would be really frustrating.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, let's talk about your upcoming debut EP, Malleable, then. You've said in the past that each track kind of lives in its own little world. Is there one world right now that best describes your state? So one song that you're identifying with more than the others?
It honestly, it changes from day to day with me what my favorite song is on the EP. Um, and I do think that it's still true that every song lives in its own little world, but I also think that the like factor that kind of like encapsulates everything is that like constant of change, if that makes sense, where like I have like written this project over the course of maybe 2 years, and I've constantly been changing like throughout that time, and so the songs have kind of reflected that change as well.
What's the
um,
earliest song on there?
I think the first song I wrote, the oldest song is Cautious.
Okay. Okay. Strong start. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Tell me about Malleable. Why did you decide to name your debut EP off of that track?
Yeah. It kind of goes back to what I was just saying, and I feel like the song Malleable has one meaning about, friendships and relationships and stuff like that, but the EP as a whole, I think, takes on malleable in a different meaning, where as um, as a project, it's definitely been kind of like twisted and stretched and morphed as it has been created, especially with COVID and this whole thing that's suddenly like changed all of our lives and changed how we view the world and the people around us. And so I think it just really fit for me as a title of the project, because I think that it started out as one thing, and then all this stuff happened, and it was twisted and stretched out and elongated, and so malleable felt like the right word for that.
Yeah, I like that. Is it like a far cry from your original vision of the project? Do you feel like it's had a large evolution then?
I think it's definitely evolved as it's gone on. It definitely still feels like a reflection of me though, which is
Oh yeah,
nice.
100%. Okay, so you worked with Alexander 23 on the beach. I'm curious if there are other surprise collaborators within your EP that we don't know about yet.
There aren't actually.
Okay,
Not
okay.
there's no features on the EP. Yeah, it's I mean, I've written the songs with a couple different people. My good friend Eric Leva is a co-writer on a lot of the songs. Sizzy Rocket, who's an artist, co-wrote "Craziest Thing I've Ever Done" with me. But for the most part, it's just me.
It's just me, guys. This is my solo bearing. No one else is. All right, Max, what's next in your plan for world domination then?
I just can't wait to play shows. That's kind of like the thing I've been itching to do for a long time. So I hope that I can go on tour as soon as that's possible. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I have realized that almost my entire career, aside from First Grade and Cautious, those are the only songs that I released before COVID. So it feels like kind of it's been so long, but it's also not been very long at all. And so I'm kind of waiting for things to go back to normal so I can see what it's like to play my songs live.
Yeah, have an audience. All right. Dude, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, 1 year, you're only at the beginning. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for you to actually come to Australia when that happens.
I
That'll be
can't
huge.
wait to go to Australia. It's one of the places.
Max, it was so lovely to meet you. And again, congratulations. It's can't wait for the world to hear it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Likewise.
Anytime.